海賊王になる男だ。
What is going on, guys? It is your boy Cali Mac on the track, Never Whack bringing back, and we are back with Trash Sit Down episode 165.
Oh my goodness.
I am here with the gang as usual, full house in the building, you feel me? We got that boy Mr. G back in effect. What's going on, my brother?
What's good, everybody? Thank you for holding it down last week. I still have to finish the episode, so I will get back to you on my thoughts next week.
Cool.
On Kid's moveset, because I know you guys were hyped, and yeah, but I have a few shout outs. Shout out to my family. We had to put my little girl April, my dog, Ella's dog, down, so shout out to her.
Condolences.
And doggy heavy. Thank you guys.
Yes, sir.
So like, that was rough, but good shout outs. I started a basketball league. We're 2-0 right now.
Nice.
And a few of the guys actually are into One Piece. So one of the guys, Manny, shout out to you, brother. He started following us on Spotify and YouTube, and he already watched the latest 4 episodes, and was just getting back on this shit's amazing.
Fire.
What a real one.
He was into YouTubers like Tech King and some I can't think of one right now. Not Hidden Island, but another one that I know Huss and Mod be listening to.
Origin, maybe Randy Troy.
I think not Randy Troy. One that hasn't been that I think Sawyer. Is it Sawyer?
Sounds familiar. Sawyer 7, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the ones that he used to listen to, but he hasn't been around, and he's been trying to find something to hit that curve on talking about One Piece, and now he got us. So
we got him. Yeah. Fire.
Yeah, dude. That shit was fire. And then we just be talking about the chapter now. So
that's fire.
It's been awesome. Yeah.
That's fire.
And then shout out to my boy Christian, my teammate. He actually tore his ACL yesterday, which was
damn.
Yeah. I hate it too. He was our top scorer. And he had a sick Gear 5 tattoo on his arm. So we were just bonding over that, and he followed the pod too. So speedy recovery, brother. And we'll get that chip for you. So
yes, sir. That's all it is too. Got to keep pushing. Big shout outs to your homies that are watching the pod. We appreciate you guys for sure. Much love. Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I was listening, mister, but your cat was not trying to let you finish the whole time.
I missed it. I was looking at the screen.
Your cat was not trying to let you finish.
Oh man. I had to, just had to focus in. I was like,
nah, you was locked in. I respect that.
Hey, mister, I know those problems, because your cat, my cat does the same thing. It's oh, you're doing something over here. I need to be right here to see what you're doing. And it's just all right.
That's definitely the cat classic.
My wife was telling me, whenever, she's working, she has a meeting, every meeting, for some reason, my cat knows how to, and she goes right on in front of the camera and plops on the keyboard and just stays there.
Yeah. Supposedly that means that your cat is trying to mimic what you're doing. So so they sit right there. I think someone made a cat video showing they made a cat keyboard or whatever for them. It's kind of funny.
For us one time, and so she was sitting on top of that next to her for a little bit until she ruined it, and then it got back to what it was before.
All right, Cat Piece Podcast. We lit. We out here. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
One day.
All right. Mod in the building. What's going on, my brother?
Nothing much. Just letting you know now. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm straight up agenda piecing today, boys.
Boy.
I feel it's been a long time since we had one of those. It's been a long
full effect time today, guys. It's one.
I'm ready. I'm hyped.
Yo, if you do not like the agenda talk, exits over there, because we not skipping nothing. We not skipping nothing today.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about for sure. It's a lot. Last but not least, that boy Wyatt's in the building. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, man? You know me, Lily, man. My motto: I just get the money and I stick to procedure. Shout out to Cali Mac. Shout out to Cali Mac for dropping UAV. That UAV, the new EP, really fire. First one target card is so good. I literally have been spamming that Friday, Saturday. So shout out to Cali for that. It's big time, broski. Shout out to the pod. I was just thinking, as you listen, bro, I'm here to talk about One Piece, man. Every Sunday, it feels so good. And craziest chapter, which is crazy because it just keeps getting fucking crazier. I feel it just keeps going, bro. So, and this chapter was one of those I I heard it was nuclear. I heard it was crazy, and it was crazier than I thought it would be. So let's do it, bro. Let's talk about this shit, man.
Yeah, this was definitely one of those chapters for sure. I do appreciate the shout out for you guys that don't know. I did drop an EP, UAV, by myself, Cali Mac, on all streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify, etc. You guys want to check that out? It'd be greatly appreciated. All right. But yeah, this chapter was insane. I like Wyatt said, I got warnings throughout the week. Yo, this is one of those chapters, watch out. And I avoided spoilers for the most part. I didn't really see anything. You know, like when you go on Twitter during like the week of the chapter, and like sometimes you see like a character's name trending, or like you'll scroll and you'll see like a hashtag, and you'll see like a little something, but you won't see the whole thing because you're scrolling like little bits in there. But I didn't really get the full extent of what happened in the chapter, and I'm glad I didn't, because it was insane. And we got a lot to talk about, so I guess let's just get into it, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Chapter 1152, A Horrible Day. We are still on the Yamato around Wano cover story. She has finally returned the hat to Kawamatsu that Otama gave to her to return. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I'm not gonna lie. Am I wrong if I say I'm over it now? Is that wrong of me?
No, just move along. All right, you know.
I have been saying that kind of stuff the whole time. I will say it's like the Tom thing. Me and my boy were reading this chapter, and like it kind of hit us hard because remember, like during the flashback, she couldn't make a dime off these. Right, no one was buying them.
Right.
So it's nice to see that her.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's
cute.
That's what's up.
It's cute. Yeah, it's cute. It's cool. But anyway,
easily the most underwhelming thing about this chapter altogether. But you know, it is what it is.
I have a two-piece Mr. G theory about the cover story for later on, but we'll get there.
Okay. Well, let's get into the actual chapter. We start out where we ended off the last chapter with the people in the underworld. That's Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, the new giant pirates, and Loki. They all feel the haki, Conqueror's haki, coming from Imu up on the surface. They're all getting ready to spring into action. They start manning the lift so that they can get up to the surface world and contend with the threat. Of course, we get Rolo has to save, protect Gerd, being the fake ladies man that he is. They're getting ready for battle. We see Chopper say he decides to stay with Gaban because Gaban is still too injured to do anything, and Chopper, being the doctor, you know, he got to do doctor things. So Luffy understands. He tells him to stay with Gaban. And as Luffy runs off, we see Gaban say, "Wait 1 second. Think about how you use your Color of Supreme King, Conqueror's haki. These guys are not immortal." Luffy says he got this and he's gonna save Colin and etc. So right here we can start here, right? Because like this is something. This is definitely something. So this is confirmed. Conqueror's haki is the key, the weakness, whatever you want to call it, for these immortal abilities. What are we thinking?
Yes, it explains so much, because first of all, it explains why when Gunko and the other God's Knights were up there, they were trying to basically do what they do, but kind of hurry up before Luffy or Zoro came. Like, because remember, they took note of that. And I was wondering, like, okay, why they... Like, they're immortal. I mean, I get Luffy's him, but why exactly are they... But they're still challenging the Straw Hat crew regardless, but they're like, okay, we gotta wrap this up. We can't do this while till Luffy gets here or whatever. And now it makes perfect sense. Like what Gaban was doing the whole time, what we could have thought was like, you know, some type of new haki thing. Because I remember Huss brought up what Mr. Morge said, that it was like haki infusion, permanent infusion or something like that. And now it looks like it was just, you know, advanced Conqueror's haki this whole time. So it explains why they were afraid of Luffy. It explains why Gaban was cutting them and what he was doing. Confirmed Conqueror's haki user as well. And
Gaban is confirmed,
a hidden thing that I don't even think people realize, that what this also confirms it confirms that back in Egghead, Luffy was not using Conqueror's Haki. He was not.
Wait, I contend this.
I also contest this. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because he tells them specifically, like, think about how you use it and not just make sure to use it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's telling them more like
an application way. Like
there's some change you kind of have to make or like adaptation with the way you use Conqueror's Haki to target these guys specifically.
Yeah, and when I read this, that's also something I wanted to say. Are we assuming that this is just advanced conquerors? Because I assume that advanced conquerors has already been established. When he said this, I assume this was a different application of Conqueror's Haki in general.
Yeah, I think that's our contention mod right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, on Egghead, again, I even think we all talked about this before when we were on that arc. Like Luffy's lack, or at least visually speaking, lack of visual confirmation of Conqueror's Haki being displayed, right? Like even in and I hate using the anime, but even in the anime, because it's funny because I was just watching Wano, like a supercut version of Kaido versus Luffy, clean version. I gotta show it to y'all sometime, but either way, basically the anime made sure to show in like pretty much all aspects that Luffy was using Conqueror's Haki, like advanced Conqueror's Haki with the glow and everything else and all his attacks and all that other stuff. In the anime in Egghead, and I don't know, maybe someone's slacking or maybe I don't know, but there's like damn near no showcase of that even in the anime. But in the anime, they made sure to show Zoro using King of Hell, which is advanced Conqueror's Haki. So again, like if he is using it, it's very, very sparingly, like very sparingly.
Has the anime shown specifically him versus Kizaru so far, right?
Yes, they showed
they finished it.
And they haven't shown him versus Kizaru and Saturn, right?
Not yet.
So I think versus Kizaru, the only punch I think we can know he's Conqueror's Haki is probably the one where he knocked him out.
The last one, right?
Yeah, I think in the anime, I think I watched it. Did you see they showed Conquerors or not? I don't know.
I'm like, no. They didn't. I'm pretty sure they showed the red lightning on that attack, bro.
Yeah, but
they showed the red.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I feel like they did. Okay, well,
they showed the red lightning, but again,
they went out of their way in Wano, is what you're saying.
Yeah, in Wano, here's what they show. Because again, I just watched this fight with Luffy versus Kaido, and Luffy unlocked it. Luffy had a yellow aura in like all his attacks, in his hands, and his gears attacks around him. That was to show us, the audience, that he's using it. And it was pretty much throughout the whole thing. Even Oda didn't go that far in the manga version, but in the anime version, they made sure to glitter that everywhere so that you could not get confused about the fact that he was using it. In Egghead, there is damn near no indication.
I have a discrepancy with that.
Okay.
He didn't he didn't have a yellow aura when he was in Gear 5 at all. In Gear 5, he's supposed to be constantly using Conquerors, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. It's like an infusion of everything.
That's what Kaido did say, but
yeah.
Kaido, okay, so here's the thing with that.
I don't like that. I don't like that line either, but I kind of agree with Kelly.
Here's the issue with that. That's like saying that because he's in Gear 5, like that he's always using it, then that means that we gotta assume that he was using it against Rob Lucci. And Oda literally had their fists touching each other.
Yeah.
How is he doing it with Conqueror's Haki, yet he's literally clashing fists with Lucci? And are we gonna say Rob Lucci
does Lucci have Conquerors?
Hell, fucking no. That scrub ass nigga, come on.
So don't they only touch when it's two people with Conquerors clashing?
No, you don't touch when even one person attacking doesn't happen.
It's like hockey, no? I don't know, because they made a whole like.
I don't remember ever seeing one side of Conquerors not touching someone.
Look at Luffy when he first gets it in 10-10 and he does that combo on Kaido. There's separation on his attacks.
He's not touching them.
When he uppercuts him.
Yeah, that's advanced Conquerors.
Isn't that Rio?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
no, Rio is the internal.
No, that's Advanced Conquerors Hockey, bro. That's not Rio.
Yeah,
even Law make
the. Yeah, it's ACOC. They yo. By the way,
that's what Mod's saying, right?
The One Piece community needs a different abbreviation for.
We've learned.
Color.
This chapter. COC is not gonna work.
Yeah, COC is not working no more. We gotta change that, yo.
Yeah, we're gonna get demonetized if we start saying that shit out loud. That's yeah, it's crazy. That's what Mod meant.
Yeah,
that's what Mod meant, is the sense of like, if he was always using Advanced Conquer 5, they wouldn't have shown the fist touching versus Rob Lucci, because he was. But here's what I'll say:
they literally touched, like literally. There was no like angle, like, because sometimes Oda will like hide the angles or whatever. But even then, like I said, the anime went out to show like the glows and all.
We don't even have to. We don't even have to, because even like Rob Lucci and Luffy, like they literally clashed and they went both flying. That shows Luffy was just not taking him seriously. He was trying to like kind of play with him a little bit. But here's what I'll say about this mod. Like the line, what do you think about Rayleigh's the way Rayleigh says it? Like making a metronome of how you use your color of Supreme King, right? I feel like that is in itself like him saying like
Gaban?
Yeah, Gaban. Sorry, Gaban, not Rayleigh. Gaban saying like think about how you use it. I feel like that's like a little bit of an indication mod that it's like don't just use it willy-nilly.
Or don't use it in a way that you've used it before. Yeah, it's something different with the way you have to use it here.
Yeah.
Maybe go
ahead.
I was just saying maybe like I said, because like Luffy does like a lot of like punches, like like blunt force. Like maybe they need to do more slicing. Like that's why he'd be slicing them up, and that's why like we see later on why he talks to the next person that he talks to.
Oh, okay. I see kind of what you mean. But yeah, so for that point, Mod, I feel like he's just specifically telling him like it's something different. And also, funny like in the Twitch chat, Luffy Jetgun brings it up. Like Luffy says versus what's the name of the Top Man Mercury? He literally says, "I've tried everything. I can't hit these guys." And he tells Dorian Broggy like they're all immortal. Like I can't damage them. I've tried everything.
He said literally, "I tried everything."
Like that's the point he's making. Like I don't know how to like actually do damage to them.
Do anything, yeah.
Okay, but this is also the same Luffy that was struggling to damage freaking Seraphim that were Lunarian. Yeah. And Rob Lucci was like, why are you doing these type of attacks? They're not working. Like we never saw what happened. And even the anime never expanded on what exactly happened either.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
Like, are we really using Luffy? I mean, I'm sorry, but sometimes I can't take Luffy's word that he's literally trying everything. I can't sometimes, like, when Rob Lucci's contesting him on his attacks that he's doing against Seraphim, and they even made a point in the manga to show, like, hey, Zoro, why didn't you tell us that they're Lunarian? Like, that makes a difference, because it genuinely does, because it's opponents that Zoro's dealt with Conqueror's Hockey. And so that's why, like, we were just floored that Zoro couldn't put two together. But even with that, we don't even know how they were even like captured or nothing like that. And so, and Luffy was still doing certain attacks that like make no sense to do. So sometimes I don't know. I like when it comes to
Luffy is a moron, and the Seraphim is a good example of that. But it would just be a little ham. Like, because again, Luffy not even versus Rob Lucci, he was not taking him seriously. And I get that sense that was happening until Kizaru pulled up. So I think versus the Gorosei, I would hope and pray to God that he would actually give it a college try. But you're right. Like, we kind of technically don't know, but that's fair for you to bring it all up. I can't say you're wrong yet, but I will say you're wrong when we get confirmation.
I get the benefit of doubt of ambiguity on this one. But
that's true, you do.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong here for sure. It's definitely all speculation for right now.
Facts.
Yeah, but I will say in the future though, like, and when I say in the future, I mean in the next couple of panels, is the reason why that I feel like it might be. I mean, like you said, it could be something else with Advanced Conquerors, but the fact that he's telling Luffy and no one else in this panel the same thing, is just telling a certain person like, hey, you just have Conqueror's Hockey. He's not saying like use it in a certain way. He just says, hey, you have it. He just flat out says, hey, you have it. I think
that's because he said it out loud the first time. He said it to Luffy, yeah, but it was just, I feel like
They're right there. Like Zoro's right behind him. He heard the first one
like the next panel, they're literally all right there. He heard him say it.
Yeah, but we got specific. I'm just saying we got like certain like panel to panel interactions between certain characters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but you know, that's just my way of thinking. But
that's fair.
Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Like that was like 20 minutes off of the first page. Like holy shit. Yeah, it's one of those chapters, y'all. It's definitely one of those.
I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. So Gaban tells Luffy, "Be careful of how you use your Conqueror's Haki." Luffy says, "I got this," and then Loki sits up and locks in. He says, "Gaban, you made me realize something. I wasn't able to verbalize my own power." And in this case, I've experienced it for myself. The Holy Knights can be stopped. Undo my cuffs and take me with you, Hydrogen. Hydrogen is shocked, appalled. He's like, "You're not going anywhere with me." And as they're bickering, we see Gaban mention another Straw Hat and says, seems like there's more than one of you with the Supreme King Haki. Sanji immediately jumps up like, it's gotta be me. Come on, like these guys keep getting ahead of me. I'm tired of it. Like it has to be me. But Gaban just ignores him and calls out Zoro. Says, "You seem like you are at ease with it. You're doing good with it." Zoro's like, "Wait, I have Haki?" Wait, what? And just completely confused. Luffy's confused. Luffy's shocked that Zoro didn't know because Luffy could see it himself. And then Gaban gets really serious and actually scolds Zoro. He says, "Haki is a power that's only useful when you consciously control it. How do you expect to support your captain and Emperor of the Sea without knowing that?" Which causes Zoro to apologize actually and get all flustered. Yeah, he got schooled real quick. We go back we go back to Sanji, who tries to ask again, "What about me? Where's my Conqueror's Haki?" And Oda, in typical fuck y'all fashion, cuts Sanji off, and this is where Hydrogen takes back center stage and yells at his brother about letting these outsiders save his homeland instead of freeing him and letting him help save the homeland. You guys want to talk about the Sanji real quick, or?
Yeah, because that's another big agenda thing that's happening right now. So what do y'all think? Does this confirm that he's not getting it, or is this like a red herring? And is this a reverse way that Oda is confirming that he's going to get it? Like, I
genuinely think this is Oda. Like, I think Oda has a plan on whether he wants to give Sanji Conquerors or not. I think that this panel has nothing to do with what outcome he has. I think he's literally just saying, "Oh, I see you guys arguing about Sanji with Conqueror's Haki. Well, here you go." Like on some real troll shit. Like, yeah, I feel like this reads directly to the audience and the people that have been debating about Conqueror's Haki. Like, you literally have Sanji saying almost verbatim, "Do I get Conqueror's Haki?" And then it gets cut off. Like that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy.
That is crazy. I never expect Oda to be on the nose like this. Like, this is kind of like this. I won't say unprecedented because I feel like he's done something like this before, but it's just so crazy to just see this.
And I think stuff like Conqueror's Haki is a lot closer to like what the fans are like debating and stuff like that, right? Like of who's gonna get it, and especially between Zoro and Sanji.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree with Callie that it is like a lot like that. But also, I think one big thing that we kind of glossed over was that Gaban confirms himself to have it, right?
Yes.
And he's been using it versus the God's Knights, and that for a lot of people is like the 1-to-1 of Sanji, right? Like like in the Gold Roger crew. So that to a lot of people is like, okay, really, Gaban has it, ergo Sanji has it, like later in the saga. Which I can't blame people for thinking. I don't really. It's fair. It's very fair.
No, I genuinely think that that's more confirmation than this exchange between Zoro, Sanji, and Gaban. I think Gaban getting confirmed Conquerors is definitely more of a sign than anything.
It bodes well.
Yeah,
it does. And I just think it's just Oda just trying to lighten up the mood and continue the gag of Sanji being put down, because I really did enjoy his line of like, "I'm tired of Mosshead and Jinbei stealing all the glory."
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, that was good.
It was definitely funny.
I like that it's like really getting to him.
Yeah.
You know, and then like Zoro, I mean, because you gotta think about it. Zoro just unlocked Conqueror's Haki at the end of Wano, and he was like, I guess, practicing with it against Lucy and on Egghead, right? And like Sanji wasn't like Sanji either might be different or he's gonna get it this arc, and it might be out of like pettiness, like just out of like fucking Vegeta shit. Like, nah, man, like I shall not be disrespected. I have this shit, and then like try to unlock it some way, like forcefully.
Yeah, I mean, now that
there'll be some funny shit.
Now that we know that it's confirmed that they need the Conquerors to damage these guys, I could definitely see it. That's probably the direction that's going. Now that I think about it, for Sanji to unlock it in this arc, in this moment where he needs it, because if he can't use it, as we see what happens later, how they separate, he's not going to be very useful if he can't use it. And
might as well be one of the other Straw Hats, pretty much.
Yeah, like, and I would hate for this dynamic to kind of be threatened, right? Of like, obviously Zoro and Luffy are 1A 1B.
Yeah.
But like I still think Sanji should. I don't think I should never feel like, yeah, Sanji can't take these guys.
Yes.
Right, like unless they're obviously like the you know, like the crew, like the captain of whatever organization or whatever, you know. But I just feel like, I hope now that, like Callie said, now that we know that it's necessary to really defeat these gods knights, and obviously I mean it's the Goros here, right? Then yeah, I think Sanji's kind of guaranteed to get it in that sense, right? But I also have thoughts on the fact that it's necessary, or so it seems to be necessary. Excuse me. I hope Oda does a good job of dealing with that and what that means for other characters that don't have Conqueror's Haki. You guys know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a conversation we had a while ago about how it's gonna narrow down the potential important players, especially in the end game, if only a handful of them can actually do anything. You know what I mean? To the bigger guys.
Personally, I don't. Is it weird that I don't like this direction personally?
I don't think.
No, I was struggling to not say that. Actually, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm saying apprehensive right now because I believe in Oda.
Of course, always.
It's like Advanced Conquerors is cool, and it's like it's dope, especially because I remember a very long time ago that I remember arguing with someone on Twitter that they swore up and down that Conqueror's Haki doesn't do anything. Like it's meaningless. The only reason why like Aokiji and all of them were scared of Luffy or Marineford when he displayed Conqueror's Haki is because it shows him qualities of a king. I'm like, wait, so you think that just because he has qualities of a king, they're fearful? And then he said yes. And I said, so you don't think there's something else with Conqueror's Haki that we just don't know as an audience yet? That's the reason why that they're fearful. And they said no. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bookmark this. And then when we get something else, I'm gonna come back to this. Funny enough, we came back to this. I went back and that post was gone. So like,
he's like, yo, I'm not getting the buck is not getting smoked back on, bro.
This was years ago too. But the point is that like back then I was hyped for it, but now I don't like the idea that that's the only way moving forward to do anything. I like that's kind of, I feel like that's putting One Piece too much in a box.
But you know,
like
what I will say is that I do think that because Oda is, damn, I'm really a dick eater. Because Oda is a master at what he does. because Oda is a master at crafting world building, and he has created this crazy massive story. The fact of the matter is that the advanced conquerors and the endgame players that can be affected by the advanced conquerors is only a quarter of the endgame as a whole. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of players that have goals outside of Mary Joie necessarily, or Emu, or the Holy Knights, or so like the players that have the Conqueror's Haki that can deal with these threats, and there's still gonna be a whole bunch of, at least I think there's still gonna be a whole lot of other characters and problems and issues to attend with for the characters that don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree to an extent, but I don't know. I mean, maybe you know, like you said, Oda is a masterful writer. He can weave his way through this. It's not like it's, you know, unsalvageable, like it's over type thing. Yeah. And you wrote yourself into a corner. But I'm saying that like a lot of people already speculate that the Holy Knights are going to be fighting the Straw Hats, right? Or the Gorosei or whatever. And if we getting one-on-ones, well, if we make it, if we let's say we count Sanji now, like let's just assume he gets it. That's only 3 people in the whole crew that can deal with all these Holy Knights and Gorosei. And people thought that like the Straw Hats will be fighting, you know, Gorosei or, you know, Holy Knights and stuff in 1v1s and stuff like that. If this is the only legitimate way to stop immortality, then we got a problem.
Well, I mean, that just disproves the theory. That just means that those guys are wrong, if anything.
Yeah, that assumption might just be not just be right. Yeah. And also like because again, I don't think I thought that all the Straw Hats would fight all the Gorosei. Like because despite
teaming up or some shit like that.
That's also the case. Also the Gorosei, like I think Callie was kind of hinting at, that the God's Knights and the Gorosei could also maybe have their own, because like the final war is not just going to be Straw Hats versus Marie-Joie, right? It's going to be, you know, Marie-Joie versus a lot of people, like a lot of people versus other people. So the God's Knights and Gorosei might probably be split up amongst those big players, like Callie said, which will make it more digestible. And I also maybe we're underplaying the God's Knights. Maybe the God's Knights are not supposed to be just Straw Hat villains or counterparts.
Right.
Like 3 of them right now, not even including Shamrock, are, well, I guess now that Emu pulled up, it's a little different. But they were basically running the whole island right before, even before Emu pulled up. They've been big villains of their own. So maybe the God's Knights are bigger pieces than we thought possible. Like even amongst themselves, not just Shamrock. So that's also a possibility that they have to deal with bigger fish.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep it pushing.
Oh, well, hold on. One thing that I thought was interesting before we go on was actually the fact that Luffy noticed that Zoro has been oozing out with Conqueror's Haki this whole time, which I thought was interesting. I mean, Luffy doesn't really talk and, you know, let us know what's going on in his head when he sees shit, but I think it just goes to show his level of observation has definitely gone up.
Yeah,
he's locked in, and I think there was a debate when Zoro fought Kaido of how Kaido understood that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki, like through the attack, you know, and that's another.
I think Big Mom sensed it, right? That's what she warned him.
Well, I think she sensed the Odin part of Enma. I think that was a scary part for that scene. But when Zoro uses the Ashura on him, and he tells him, like Kaido tells him straight up, like, "Dog, you have Conqueror's Haki," and it seems like he felt it through the attack, right? And I think the question was like, oh, can you feel Conqueror's Haki through the attack? Like, why don't people notice that Zoro has it normally? Blah blah blah. So I agree with you. It was an interesting line that Luffy brought up. So
yeah,
I mean, I remember seeing a video. I forgot from who exactly, but someone pointed out even before this was brought up that it's likely possible that Zoro don't even realize he's using it. And it's because of the way it's been explained, or it's been kind of alluded around him up to this point. And see, look, my cat just jumped up here. So yeah, we're at cat piece. But yeah, basically, the way Kaido said it was like, "Do you have Conqueror's Haki too?" Like asking him, and Zoro will obviously say at that point, "What? No." Like, but he was like, "What are you talking about? I just put everything I had." And then when he fought King, the person in the video pointed out the way that King said Conqueror's Haki wasn't straight up. It was like
you have kingly ambitions.
Yeah, it was a very vague way of putting that Zoro had it, but it wasn't a direct question. So that's why Zoro didn't, like, even if we thought at that moment maybe he realized he got it, this whole time no one has flat out told him like this, like, you got it. Like, so
yeah.
yeah. So, you know. funny enough, this is like this would be like kind of low key a Luffy moment, but even Luffy's like, what the? But
yeah, Luffy's funny, man.
It does go to show that Luffy is like so at home with the hockey and Conqueror's hockey and all that stuff. I like that. It's like he has to pick it up. But I will say the really interesting line that we skipped over was Loki saying he already fought the Gods and Knights.
Yeah, this is true. We I assume, well, we don't really get too much more on it later. But I guess we'll probably see more of that as the chapters come on. As we get deeper into it. All right, let's keep it pushing. Yeah. So Loki cuts off Sanji trying to figure out if he's worthless or not. We get Loki yelling at his brother. Hydrogen says, "I can't trust you. I don't know if you're gonna betray Elbaf and go to the government instead, since you already basically did that. How can I trust you?" We have the other giant pirates that are currently trying to get up the lift, telling Hydrogen he needs to hurry up. We gotta move. And then Luffy comes with the classic Luffy line. He tells Loki to join the crew. Or he tells Luffy to join the crew, and then he asks Hydrogen. That means we should be able to set him free if we do that. Zoro and Sanji immediately contest. They're like, forget about it, he's too big. I'm not cooking for this big ass nigga. Like, I Loki get Sanji on that one, I'm not gonna lie. But Luffy says it sounds like Elbaf doesn't want him anyway. And I guess this translation is a little bit different than the TCB. He says, I think it'd be fun with you, and if anyone's got a problem, I'll whoop him. But I think in the TCB, he was like, if Loki acts up, I'll just beat him up.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. And also, heads up, my boy said about, because I was wondering about a certain line that Gaban says later. And I asked my boy Grayson, and he said TCB seems to have the whole chapter on lock. So I guess if there's any discussions, I might be more leaning towards TCB.
Okay. Well, Loki's not having it. He completely spazzes, like, shut your mouth. Why would I ever be your henchman? Start screaming at him. Luffy's just standing there with that dumbass smile. Hey, yup, okay. Hydrogen asks if Luffy's following his instincts right now. And Luffy just wants to see him fight, just like the rest of us, more or less. So the new giant pirates are still rushing Hydrogen. They're like, we gotta go. We gotta save these guys. What are we doing? Hydrogen's like, I'm coming. He grabs Luffy. He's like, sorry, we gotta go. This guy's condemned to death. You can't have him. But as they're running away, Gaban stops them and says, Hydrogen, unlock Loki's chains. Hydrogen spazzes, turns around and spazzes on Gaban. He's like, why would you say this? Loki killed 113 soldiers 14 years ago. He gave Chief Jarl the grievous wound, slaughtered his own father, and his crimes are monstrous and historic in scale. And as he says this, Gaban says, I know, but the day it happened, we felt an extreme abnormal hockey from the castle, and Shanks and I headed for Aura's castle together. We didn't see the whole thing, but we were there. So this is news to Hydrogen and Luffy and us, actually. But so Hydrogen hears this and he's like, you know what, guys, go ahead, we gotta figure this out right now. Luffy decides to stay as well because he heard Daddy Shanks in this, so he has to know what's going on. And Zoro says the same thing. He's like, Shanks obsessed fool. And Luffy's like, don't call Shanks a fool. Sanji's like, talking about you, idiot. Like, that was a funny panel. That was a good panel.
That was funny. That was a good one.
Oh man.
Rare Zoro and Sanji agreeing moment.
Yeah, rare, very rare moment.
You gotta have to admit, like, Oda definitely played Luffy, because he just, like, every single time Shanks is mentioned, he's like, what, Shanks?
Shanks? Yeah.
Shanks?
Nah, he definitely dick riding. I'm not gonna lie. That boy Luffy, man. Yeah, so we got Zoro, Sanji, and the rest of the new giant pirates, all for Loki, all for Hydrogen and Gerd. The rest of them all go up to the lift to see what they can do on the surface world. I do think it's interesting how he paired off Zoro and Sanji to go see what's gonna happen. I think it doesn't. I also think it doesn't bode well for them, because I feel like this is classic Luffy and the gang come up and everybody's defeated, about to get a killing blow or some shit on someone. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But I guess we'll see what happens.
It also kind of goes to talk about like the thing Gaban was saying about Conqueror's Haki, where like if someone like Zoro goes up there, and we kind of might get to see early, like before Luffy gets up there, like what a imperfect Conqueror's Haki user looks like versus the God's Knights in Zoro. And then when that doesn't go well, like Luffy's gonna be okay, here's how it's done. Maybe.
Yeah.
We might get that kind of setup as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so Gaban is like, let's figure out what's going on. Who's better to tell the story than the man that was there? You guys are still brothers. Hodges is like, fine, you have 3 minutes to explain everything. What happened that day in the castle 14 years ago? If you're a true warrior of Elbaf, swear by the name of God and speak the truth. Luffy, oh my god, Loki is like, that's a cruel demand. You want me to relive that event? I'd rather not remember the details. It was a horrible day. And I don't know if this is like him just being bored or facetious, or if he's actually feeling some sort of emotion.
I think so.
I just think it's hard to tell because this is not how he's portrayed himself for this entirety of this arc. Like, so when I first saw this panel, I thought he was saying it in like I'd rather not remember the details. It was horrible. Like you know, but
I feel like that's a little like scene killing if that was to be how it was read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're like, well, why is he suddenly getting really sarcastic?
Well, I feel like he's always been like that. Well, maybe like not so. Well, he's been a little sarcastic. Not like he's not really a snarky dude, but
yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like he's not snarky necessarily, but he's definitely one to make a remark or talk back or
he's very defensive. I mean, I don't think you're wrong because that's how he tries to portray himself. But there has been instances throughout this whole arc where he has shown a softer side.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
Especially with the animals and stuff like that. That's why I don't think he killed these people. Especially when you see him when he was younger, like how he was.
We get confirmation in a few pages, more or less.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I just meant like when he was younger, when he first met, confronted rocks when he was a kid, right? Like
you said you said confirmation he didn't kill these people. Who are you talking about?
That's why I said I don't think he killed these people. Like in the people that he is.
The guards and his father.
Okay. Yeah. That's my bad. I misread what you said. Okay.
Yeah, so like that's why like I don't think he killed these. I don't think he's a murderer, and that's what Luffy feels, and that's why he's going off his instincts.
Yeah.
And Hydrogen, having seen that at Dressrosa, he's like, you know what, fine, let's listen out. Let's because
Loki definitely has a softer side. I'm not gonna deny that.
Yeah, that's why like he comes off as rough because like that's what everyone expects, but he's actually not that.
Yeah.
His pen pal feels the same way.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so we go into the first flashback. We start out in this flashback 14 years ago at Aura's castle, the same castle that the God's Knights appeared in earlier in the arc. We see some giants say something's coming from the sky, and it turns out to be Loki landing on the castle. He's come to meet with his father, and we see that Chief Jarul has also come. Assuming that I'm assuming the king summoned him because that's what Loki says. It's hard to tell from these panels necessarily, but we know that they're both here for one reason or another. Yeah. Loki asks if his father summoned Chief Jarul too. He says, "We're family. You're looking good, Jarul, and try not to live too long." Cracking jokes with each other. Loki wonders what his father could possibly want with him, and he says he has no interest in a man who'd sell his soul to the world government. He says, "These are the people who killed Rocks, and if Elbaf is going in that direction, they'll make an enemy of me." Very interesting dialogue. We get Jarul saying to chill out. I'm just an old man now. Politics is all you young folks. And then Loki spazzes on him. He's like, that lackadaisical, lazy attitude is the problem. It's why all these kids just want peace. They can't swing a weapon. And Jarul's like, that's a good thing. It's the age we live in that we don't have to fight. My granddaughter doesn't have to fight, and she's adorable. And Loki calls him soft. Yeah, so they get some back and forth until they make it to the throne room. The guards say, thank you, Chief Jarul, for coming. And they kind of throw in the and Loki. And then they say, welcome back to the prince. They say, one of the guards says, tries to get them to wait for a second so they can check with the king to make sure that they can enter. But Loki's not having that. He says, "This is my home. Get the fuck out of my way," and kicks this guy through the damn door into the throne room. Tries to tell his pops he's back, but he walks in on King Harold getting slain. Stabbed through the chest, body area, whatever, with multiple spears. It looks like this is from the guards of the castle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Can we not tell, or what do we? What's?
No, those are the guards.
They definitely are the guards. Yeah,
okay.
They're in the same. They're in the same attire as the guards.
No, I'm not gonna lie, because I've been looking at the camera. I'm not gonna lie. Mars started shaking his head when I said that, so I was like, "Wait, am I bugging?" Yeah.
No, it's not you.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So it looks like he's getting stabbed by the guards of his own castle. Harold and Loki are both in extreme shock from seeing this.
Jarl.
What did I say? Harold. Jarl. Yeah, you're right. Is this his death? Is this confirmation Loki didn't do it?
Well, I think this really helps, right?
It definitely helps, yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was thinking that, like, I believe he started turning, and he was telling his guards to kill him before he does. And I think
don't be reversey turning.
Yeah, don't be reversey turning. I do believe Imu or someone is there. We just don't see them there right now. And they started turning him, and like before he fully got turned, he was telling them to kill him, and ended up not happening. And then shit, got worse.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I guess it's not too much to go off of this panel, but we do. Yeah, I guess it's not too much to go off on this panel. Because
I think it's interesting that well, unless you had something more like.
I was gonna move on.
Okay, I think it's interesting that like in the panels before, like the guards are like, because as they're walking to the throne room, I think there's like a sound effect. Sound looks like, I guess, someone yelling "raw," and like in the top left panel, and Loki and them are like, "What the fuck's going on in there? What's the ruckus? What's coming from the throne room?" And the guard is acting shifty at the door, like, "Oh yeah, let me just make sure the king's good, and then I'll let you in." Like,
yeah,
it's a little like it seems like I feel like it's like feels like some more conspiratorial,
like a coup,
not like a coup. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with this. I feel like the guards had something planned, and there's like lookouts and shut-ins, or lookouts and making sure that no one's here.
Yeah, and
Loki and them appearing is a bit of a surprise probably to the guards. So, and again, we've already heard that Loki's not happy with him. I have no interest in a man who would sell his soul to the world government, and which I found crazy when I first read that line, because to me the betrayal was going to happen later, right? It was going to be him selling out to the world government in terms of like giving the power to Imu and stuff like that. But it seems like there's more to, and we'll see more about stuff that's said in the next flashback about Elbaf and what Loki means. But it seems like the people, the guards, especially the warriors, are not happy with how Harold has been turning the Elbaf into a peaceful place. So that might be also what's happening here too. That's why I'm kind of pushing back on the idea that he's turning right now, because it seems like this is something they had planned.
It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, but again, we have barely shit to go
we
on,
have barely much to go off on this one. But we do get a lot more lore. There's only a couple chapters, but still a couple more pages, but still so much. We switch over to the same exact time period, but on the other side of the area, I guess. In the Sun World, we're at Gaban's house, where we find two characters talking. One say the views are enormous, and this place is the best. Another person saying ain't it, and then we turn to find out that it's Shanks and Gaban sharing a conversation. Shanks is like, it's been a while since we shared a bath. It's been a couple years. Gaban's like, Captain died. Oh well, I'm got it mixed up. Gaban is saying it's been a while since we've shared a bath. Couple years. Shanks is like, Captain died 10 years ago, and Gaban's like, this must have been an eternity for you, since Shanks was a kid back then. Shanks talks about how much his life has changed. We see that he has the scar from Blackbeard. So I guess we could have already told that from the time period.
No, this is the earliest we've seen the scar.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
like not by much, because this is only 2 years before Luffy eats the devil fruit.
Right.
So this is that was the earliest we've ever seen this car, and now 2 years earlier we know that okay, he had it 14 years ago, not just 12 years ago. So it is the earliest we've seen this car.
And then we also see his arm for the first time.
We see his left arm, yeah.
And we see the tattoo.
Yeah. He's so Gaban says that you're a child of fate. Don't bother thinking over the tricky details. And he asks about Little Garden and whatnot. I wanted to get to that child of fate line before I talked about the arm, but I guess since we're there, this is the same arm that Shanks sacrificed to Luffy, to the sea beast to save Luffy. On this arm, we see a mark of some sorts. I believe the Twitter people, I think they saw the mark. I forgot where it was. They seen it on. Was it a Holy Night or?
Yeah,
it was.
The God Knight. This dude, what's his name?
The Summers.
Guy.
Yeah, Summers.
Summers. Yeah.
It's on a wrap around his left arm over his clothes. So it's not, because some people thought it was the mark, like Emu's mark, but it's not.
Right.
Emu's mark is way crazy. We saw it when Shepard gets first teleported in. So it's not that, but it is. It looks like, because we know the world government symbol, the cross with the circles at the end of each line.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar, but not quite. So maybe it's like the God's Knight's insignia.
Yeah, it's something to do with the Holy Knights, with the Holy Land for sure.
Which is crazy.
But it is definitely crazy. It gives some precedence to why Shanks gave up his arm in the first place, because it's been a big thing that he didn't have to do that in the first place. You know what I mean? Why he didn't use hockey? Why he didn't just get rid of the beast in the first place? And a lot of people have been saying it was just to motivate Luffy, right?
There's more to it now.
I think the idea is that's a terrible idea, by the way.
Yeah.
I know. I remember that. I feel like the most, because I never believed in that idea that it was on purpose. Obviously now I feel like there's a lot more credence. But before I always thought that bro, it's chapter 1. There's no way Oda had it all planned out by then. But now I'm a little
Well, he did it. We know for a fact that he did it. I think it was confirmed later on that Oda. The only reason why he made Shanks give up an arm is because the editors told him that they kind of wanted to do that to give Luffy's backstory more attention and more credence. So he didn't even plan on giving Shanks a
Luffy was one of the
handicap
lower
like
ones.
this.
That's true. When we went over backstories, remember we did a tier list, and Luffy was one of the lower backstories out of everyone.
Yeah, that's a good point. And even with Shanks losing the arm, it wasn't the most tear-jerking backstory that we ever.
He didn't have a hard life necessarily.
Yeah. Oh no, he had a hard. He had a hard life, and but it just wasn't in comparison to everyone else.
He wasn't in a dungeon.
In real life,
didn't
have your parents, was basically adopted by bandits, and you lived poor. Your brother, he had
definitely.
But I bring it up to say that I never liked the idea that he did it on purpose, and also the fact that he did it to motivate Luffy was a trash idea. But now Oda is probably retconning that it might have been on purpose, like Callie's saying.
This is Oda going back.
Is that retconning necessarily? Because retconning is changing.
I feel like retcon has a bad connotation, but literally that's what it is, right?
No, but retconning is going back and changing something that was concrete.
Yeah.
Right. So that's Laugh Tale, right? It was Raft Tale.
Can I read the Oxford definition?
Go ahead.
Retcon, a verb, revise retrospectively, typically by introducing a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events.
Oh, I feel that's literally what this is then, yeah.
A different interpretation of previously described events. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because a lot of people use retcon, because like Waiha said, it's used negatively to describe someone going back and literally changing a piece that was already established.
Yeah, that's what I assumed the definition was. But okay, that's good to know. We learned something today. W.
Learn something every day, buddy.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Yeah, so definitely interesting reveal with Shanks. He also says, and he only wanted to do was be a carefree pirate with Buggy, which was very sweet, because we know they had a lot of history.
Yeah, people are really invested in that like dynamic.
That Buggy Shanks dynamic, yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah.
It's definitely sweet.
It's like Usopp, Luffy, maybe similar in a way.
Oh yeah.
I just need one time when I need Shanks and Bucky to do a team attack together, like the old, like some type of old days thing. Even though obviously we know Shanks is like way above Bucky, it would be still interesting to see them like backs against each other doing some type of team attack today. That would be epic.
Funny enough, I was genuinely thinking about what a Shanks Buggy meeting would look like in the current day, because they haven't met at all since the story started. Yeah. They literally
they met in Marineford. They met in Marineford. He gives him Luffy's hat.
He gives Buggy Luffy's hat? I thought it was Law.
He's like, make sure he gives.
No, he gives Buggy.
He throws that Buggy and says, "I'll give you a pirate map in return," and he gives it to Law.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Buggy's carrying Luffy at that point, maybe.
Okay,
but yeah, he definitely makes him. But Shanks kind of like shrugs him off because he's stopping the war.
Yeah, because he's really occupied. We haven't gotten like an intimate interaction between Shanks and Buggy, and
now they're like both Yonkos, right?
Yeah,
asterisk on one of them, but like it's still the truth. So yeah, I think I was a little like I was glad to see that dynamic is Oda's really giving it, and when we got the chapter with Bartolomeo, we saw that scene right in the rain or something like that with Buggy and Shanks. I can't remember the exact. I feel like we got more of that recently.
Oh, that was a flashback though, right? He was looking. Yes. I think that was the day that they separated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we got that. That was kind of interesting that we got more of that. Then, and we're getting more of it now. And I kind of wanted to bring it up with the Luffy thing. Like it's kind of like this is a really Shanks centric like last 50 chapters. Like it's so cool.
I mean, it's probably the most we've seen Shanks in a single arc, actually.
It's not just that, though, but this is the closest Luffy has gotten.
Yep. Yeah, that's also true. That's very true.
Like, as Luffy gets closer, we get closer. There's more info about him and shit like that.
Yeah.
Real quick, back to the mark on his arm. You guys just think just the CB's taking off his arm like gets rid of this curse that he like or whatever connection he had?
But again, I don't think it's. First off, I don't think it's where you're going. But I don't think it's the emu mark, like the whole thing that makes you like subservient to him and all that stuff. I just think it's like the insignia of the God's Knights, and maybe he had cut himself off before this. Like he's like, all right, fuck you, I don't fuck with you guys. But the tattoo is like a reminder. And if the Luffy scene is him betting on the new world, all that stuff, he's like, you know what? Now I can give my arm up, and I can really believe in it. Now that it's like I believe in Luffy now. The new world's here, and the arm I can now that it's like not that now that it's gone, but like it being gone is also significant of me.
It's symbolic, like he's
exactly
is gone.
Yes.
Like he's not there. Okay.
But when was he ever a God's Knight though? That's the.
Well, we're not saying he's a God's Knight, but like that signet is kind of interesting. That's there.
That's why I think this goes into the whole God Valley thing that him and his brother were both there and they got split, right? And maybe they were already marked as children. Like maybe like the God's Knights. At least the prior ones before Gonko were all like from families, high-ranking families of celestial dragons, and they were marked as babies. That's what, or like some type of saying shit, like tested to see who's powerful. Whatever.
That's also possible.
Yeah, they're twins actually, right? They're exactly. Shanks and Shamrock are twins, so they actually I didn't even think about that, but Shamrock had to be he had to, well, we don't know if Shanks was necessarily born on God's Valley. Right? He was only found on God's Valley. But they both had to be babies around that time, and if Dude was on God's Valley at that time, I guess it's hard to draw the full connection without more information.
No, of course, but definitely, it just goes up because Buggy is also there too. Like, was Buggy? We don't know if Buggy is Rox's kid or like there's that theory as well.
Wait, so Buggy was on God's Valley. Wait, what do you mean?
Because they're both children. We don't know which one of them two were found on God's Valley. That's the whole ambiguity between Buggy and
Shanks. Because Buggy and Shanks are around the same age or whatever. You think that even though we know Shanks is Pigarland, therefore Celestial Dragon, it's highly possible, like from the film Red, that when they opened that chest or when they when they had that show that baby or whatever in I I forgot what chapter it was, but when they showed that flashback of that baby, that was actually Buggy. Like that's, I think that's what.
Wait, what?
Oh, because they didn't ever show Shanks being a baby in the manga. It was the line. I know you're talking about the line when they showed when Momo's sister was born on the ship. They said they had them in their hands, Momonosuke and Hiyori.
Yeah.
And I think Rayleigh was like, this reminds me of the old days. I think they're talking about Shanks and Buggy when they were babies. So they're saying like they might have found them at the same time, if they're both babies.
I didn't even know this was a thing. I'm not gonna lie.
I just remember that. I didn't know saying that reminded me of the line.
Yeah, because I didn't know either. Honestly,
I just assumed that they were talking about
hearing that.
Yeah, I just assumed they were talking about just Shanks. I never knew Buggy was also in combo with that. That's interesting.
That would be crazy though, because Oda is definitely leading us to believe that was Shanks, and it would be crazy if he showed that like, nah, that's
both of them.
Like,
well, it was at least definitely Shanks though, because we saw them find in film where we see them find Shanks in the chest, so it was at least definitely Shanks. It could have been both of them, and again, we don't know anything about Buggy's backstory, so
yeah,
and like with Buggy's luck throughout this whole like career, pretty much like this dude is a child of something, bro. You know, so like a child of luck, if anything.
Child of luck, yeah.
You know.
All right, so that's good for the Shanks stuff. Let's keep it pushing.
Wait.
Unless it's not okay.
wait. Do we talk about like what does the child of fate thing mean?
No, we didn't actually.
What does it genuinely mean?
I was assuming that it had something to do with the tattoo, which would have something to do with his heritage. That's where my brain just automatically went when I first read it. But if you have another idea, then feel free. You know,
I mean, he's literally like the son of the Gods Knight's captain, and he was found by the Roger Pirates. I feel like that's like a big fate thing in and of itself. And also that like that destiny of like not being. It's kind of like with Ace, right? Like, who's your real like? Is your fate determined by who your blood is or who you are, who's your real family, right? So I think it's kind of along those lines. But again, we know that Shanks, according to Shamrock, this arc said, yeah, Shanks went back to Marijois, right? In some capacity. And he says a pretty interesting line in this chapter. So there's more to Shanks that we don't know about what he did after his time with the Roger Pirates. So.
Yeah. I thought that the child. I ain't gonna hold you. I thought the child of fate thing was in reference. There was some type of reference to that, and when Roger spoke to him when he was a kid after coming back from Laugh-Tale and Shanks was crying. I thought it has maybe something to do with that. But
it could be. It could have been Roger telling him his heritage, right? That would literally tie it all together.
You think? Oh,
yeah, we said it definitely.
That's like a running theory, though. That's like,
that Roger told Shanks where he's from and everything.
Yeah, what he is.
You got rat blood in your DNA. I'm sorry, man.
Yo.
I'm sorry to have to tell you.
You got rat in your DNA?
Yeah.
No.
That's tough.
I was just Canadian, but then you went rat, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So,
easy. What the fuck?
Crazy.
Yo, this is the guy whose country is okay. Let me chill.
Did they ever make a one piece of bridge and you got rat in your DNA, fam? Like,
that's funny. All right, let's keep it pushing. We do still have some more Shanks stuff to get through. Because as they're talking, we see Ripley, the baddest giant alive, come out and say, hey guys, surprising Shanks and making her husband laugh. They come out to the bath and Ripley serves them some food and drink. Shanks marvels at the design of a half human, half giant household. And Ripley asks Shanks to tell her some stories of Gaban back in his heyday. And Shanks says he could tell. He says at every single port of call, Gaban had a different, and before he can finish it, Gaban stops him and pulls his cheek. Like, yeah, you want to leave this island alive? Like, what you doing?
He was about to switch.
Yeah, Shanks is crazy for that. I ain't gonna lie, he's odd for that. That's crazy. You can't do that, man.
Hey, there's the rat blood right there, baby.
Yeah, nah, the rat blood. That's tough.
The rat blood. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. So they continue their conversation. Gaban asks if Shanks knows about King Harald and how he's worshipped out in this lands. Shanks says that he met him in Merrywild a while back and that they were cool, but he wanted to talk. There was something that he couldn't talk to Harald about in the Holy Land, and that he wants to talk to Harald about it now, since he's in Elbaf, before it's too late. And as he's saying this, I'm assuming these events are happening simultaneously.
I would assume so.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah. So as they're having this conversation, or at least in the same day, this is when this famous event happens, where King Harald dies. Chief Yarul gets stabbed in the head, and somebody finds the forbidden devil fruit treasure of Elbaf. We know that Loki eats the fruit, right? But the shadowy figure doesn't tell me that this is Loki here necessarily, right?
Yeah. And shout out to Mr._G.
Okay.
Let me know. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
You want me to go ahead? It's all you, bro.
No, you the one that brought it up, bro. I didn't even remember it, bro.
Yo, y'all are better than me, because if it was me, I'm taking the credit immediately. I don't care who did it, bro. You giving me the opportunity for credit? It's mine now. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I had a theory. No, I'm playing. So I feel like I talked to my boy yesterday about One Piece a little bit at the locals, and maybe he challenged my assumption a bit. But my assumption was that King Harald had the devil fruit the entire time.
I assumed that it was King Harald ate the devil fruit, and when he killed him,
and it was passed down through some technique they have, or like maybe they have the exact fruit that it goes to afterwards. But young Mr. G said the whole time in this arc, Harald does not have the devil fruit. It's been in hiding, and he's a peaceful giant, right? And I think he's the only person that said that. And now, if it's in this chest, that has been hidden in this treasure room that we saw when Luffy fought Gaban, by the way.
Yeah,
he was, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so at least Harald, maybe not the people before him, but Harald was hiding the devil fruit and never actually ate it, which I'm telling you, is the only person I've seen call that. So I just want to give him some shout out there. I never heard him say.
Shout out to
that shit was crazy.
W prediction.
I literally never heard no one say that before.
I didn't remember, bro. Not gonna lie.
We take those anyway.
You should have took credit for that shit, bro. You don't deserve the credit.
I was like, yo.
Sometimes you hit a crazy mix up on the opponent and you didn't mean to, but we take them.
It'd be like that.
We indeed take those.
It's either Harold had the fruit or they were protecting it for some reason, right? So. That's how I saw it as.
Yeah. So this fruit is definitely here. I don't know if Loki's the person necessarily right here in front of the fruit, but we do know that Loki eventually eats it. We're gonna need more information on this. Yeah. It's hard to tell from this little bit we got, because right after this we go into another flashback. Well, before that, do you guys have any idea what Shanks wanted to talk to Harald about?
Something that definitely Imuk or whoever can listen to, especially Mary Joa, so
Shanks also says before it's too late, so he has some type of knowledge about about Harald.
Maybe since if we continue on the thing, first off, why was Shanks at Mary Joa, right? That's a big one. That is an interesting line, right? And obviously we heard that he went back, but like again, you're just chilling there, like you were in a capacity to meet people. And part two, another crazy thing is, why was Harald at Mary Joa? To our knowledge, Elbaf is a place that's not like privy to the world government. They're not entitled to them. They're not a member state. So we get confirmation that recently they were a member state, they're just not now.
Well, I mean,
that's a crazy deal, no?
Didn't Loki say that he was selling it, like King Harald was selling
exactly, but we didn't know, but like that's what Loki meant. But we didn't know that until Shanks said that right now that he met him at Mary Joa. Right. Okay. That's a reveal in and of itself. And so they're both there under dubious circumstances, especially Shanks. But it seems like Harald was a member of Mary Joa. That's why was a member of there. But yeah, I agree with you, Mister. It has probably something to do with that. And Shanks, if he was at Mary Joa under pretenses of maybe thinking about becoming a God's Knights, maybe the God's Knights talked about the plan to take over Elbaf.
And he wanted to warn them. Yeah. They were making a move. That's definitely possible.
I feel like that's a possibility.
It's definitely a possibility, and it makes sense for Shanks.
And another thing that was the fact that someone is blocking the door. So someone else, another third party, is there during the castle stuff,
that is a good point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we gotta get more info, but unfortunately, we go into another flashback. The flashback within the flashback. We get the narrator talking about how the day that King Harold perished. Then the narrator says, "What was it that caused the people to praise him so?" And then they say, "For that, we must go back in time to 109 years before the present, where the question of what is the most frightening thing on the sea would elicit a unanimous answer, which is the giant pirates crew, the most widely feared figures of the day." We see Dory and Bragi, the OG giant pirates crew, wreaking havoc. It says, at the same time, the royal ship from the land of giants only enhanced the fear the world felt towards Hellbath. So this royal ship was operating separately from the giants pirates. We see them docking onto some town. We see a figure asking if there's a beautiful princess in the castle, or telling his subordinate to look in the castle because he heard there's a beautiful princess. And we see this weird creepy guy peeking in through the top of the castle. And then we see this giant kicking the shit out of this guy into the castle. You see him saying his foot slipped. His subordinate's telling him not to do that. And we find out that this is King of the Warland, Elbaf Island, Harold. Harold in his Mayday. We get the narrator finishing. He says, one of the big reasons that this royal ship was feared was that Harold, the king of Elbaf, who ascended the throne at just 45 years old, which is 15 in human years, this guy is undeniably a low-life scumbag. And we see him as he's causing havoc. He's asking, "Who is your god now?" to all of these people. It looks like a dickhead. End of chapter. Definitely looks like a dickhead. It's interesting to see the juxtaposition from how he's been portrayed as this benevolent, kind ruler.
Yeah. For peace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just gotta.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. I was gonna say we need to see more.
Yeah. I mean, we do need to see more, but I just gotta say Oda is hilarious because just like, well, why did Loki do it? Well, let's go back in time and see what happened. But I mean, did he genuinely kill Harold? And what caused people to love Harold? Well, let's go back further 109 years ago. And then he see him being a dickhead, and Oda might be like, "Well, why are Oni so violent?" Well, let's go back to the boys' century.
No, the flashback in the flashback is actually crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This is like
Oda was watching Inception, bro. Again.
I can't lie. But
Harold's gonna fall into a bathtub and wake up.
I do think it is gonna flow nicely once they reach the end of this flashback. It's gonna flow into King Harold's death, and we're gonna get the situation on that, which will flow back into the present, and we'll get the whole story. Like, I think that the format is fine. It is funny looking at it, but I think it's gonna flow fine.
It's fine. It's just hilarious.
No,
like just looking through it,
it's definitely funny.
I was really excited because I actually really like the format, and I like that like we start off with the question we have, like what the fuck happened that day, and we get something we didn't know. We saw the guard stabbing Harold,
right?
And then, because again, you see Shanks and Gaban talking, you get the child of fate, you get Shanks' left arm, the what looks like a world government symbol. There's so much interesting tidbits that like I don't want the chapter to end like this. And then I feel like beginning this, like we're gonna get the life of Harold and the god and the giant's reign. I feel like it elicited more than like, oh, I don't like the cliffhanger. Like I'm excited for like the huge flashback we're gonna get now. And 109 years ago is such an interesting like
time.
Period of time. We don't know much from pre Gold Roger's death, like 22 years ago, 24 years ago, to 100 years ago. In this time, like 90 years ago, Brooke is born. 60 years ago, Loki is born and Big Mom is on Elbaf and all that stuff happens. Like, there's like very small tidbits we know about, but this flashback, as it kind of comes back to the modern day, might give us so much random stuff and huge stuff that we've been looking forward to. And again, don't forget the Brook and Gunko stuff, right? This is a chance for that to come into play because the timeline is before Brook was born. So even that might come into play.
I think that you actually hit a good point as to why Oda's flashbacks, I think, hit a lot differently. Because I feel like a lot of other mangaka, I'm not trying to throw shade, but a lot of other mangaka use the flashback to flesh out the character's history, which is what a flashback is primarily used for. That's cool. I think Oda does that and also fleshes out the world's history with a lot of his flashbacks. We get a lot more on how other parts of the world, the things around the character that the flashback is centered on, how the things around him are formulating and whatnot. I think Oda does that really well for sure.
No, he does. And then, like, I know one question I asked before, and I've always asked myself, is like, how strong are these giant pirates really? Like, everyone wants a fucking giant on their squad, like Big Mom, you know what I mean, like, and all this shit, and like, because like we've seen Dory and Bragi early on, and we're like, we got beat by Mr. 3, you know what I mean? And then we see Hydrogen. He barely beat this Ton dude, you know, from Dressrosa. Like, so like, first I wasn't too impressed with them, but like the fact that we get to go back in time, we get to see as to why like they're so feared and like why everyone wants a giant on their team. I definitely appreciate, and also I do want to see this guy's change, because like, how does he go from this scumbag to this peaceful king? You know what I mean? Like, did he meet Nika, and was it like a reverse Domi reverse, you know, like turn him into a good guy type of shit? Like, are we gonna see what did he deal with the fruit? Like, I don't know. Like, it's so many questions pop up with this shit, man. Like,
yeah, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited. For some reason, my read on Harald is that we've been kind of, our ankles have been broken a little bit. I think he's a straight up good guy. You don't
think that this is a facade, like?
No. I think he's like a piece of shit right now, and then he'll grow, like Mr. said, to kind of to the person he is now. Well, I know Mr. said like there's gonna be like trigger, but my point is that like I think that my suspicions about him and the way he worked with Emu, quote unquote, I think we might be being led astray a little bit, and that him trying to work with the world government and make them a member state might actually have been on purpose and like kind of in a naive, like, you know, the world government is someone we want to work with, you know, like it's, you know, we're gonna connect to people and stuff like that, right? And how he was maybe led into thinking like this is a good thing. His naivete might be why, you know, the guards don't like end up doing what they do, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah,
maybe. Also, his change could also be due to a woman. I mean, that's usually what happens.
That actually, honestly, that was part of what I thought, because we know that he had
Hydrogen's mom.
He's had Hydrogen's mom, and then whoever is the Loki's mom, the queen or whatever, the royalty blood. So we know that he's had a history with women. I could definitely see maybe one or the other. I'm assuming it's Hydrogen's mom, because I'm assuming that, this is all assumption, but I'm assuming that he had the relationship with this giant outside of the royal family that showed him, you know, the humility, you know, that maybe gave him a different perspective on life on the giants, you know what I mean? That was actually one of the thoughts I had when I first saw this, is that a woman changed his perspective. But you know, anything's possible.
No, definitely, especially with like because like Odin, we saw him fall in love in his flashback. So and then we see like the kids come to fruition, because you know they're the ones that are partaking in the current events. So same thing with Loki and Hydrogen. Like, what if like one of them? I do think Loki is his kid, but what if Hydrogen actually isn't, and he like took him in after his mom passed away or something like that? Like, we don't know. There's more to it than just that.
Yeah,
because Hydrogen is too small to be fucking related to Loki. I'm sorry, bro. That dude, like, the size difference is ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, the ancient giant blood did not do anything for him. Yeah. Interesting.
We don't know anything. What do we know about? We don't know much about Loki's mom, right?
No,
basically nothing.
All that is that she was also a giant, ancient giant, right? Like, that's why it was like a
Is that confirmed?
Like,
I don't know if we know that.
No. Okay.
No, yeah.
Or she was royalty? Wasn't it royalty?
She's royalty. That's why people were mad at Hadrian, because he's not. He's like Callie said, extramarital.
He's a muggle.
He's a
mudblood. Yeah.
A mudblood.
No. Oh no.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. I think the Odin Loki like bad boy to like more grace and humility, like Callie said, is like he's done it a little bit like, well, I guess Loki's still a piece of shit, but like the Odin thing, like he's like growing to be having more grace and being more cognizant of stuff is an interesting pipeline that Oda has kind of done. So I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited for the moment he tears his horns.
Yeah, that's gonna go hard. That's definitely gonna go hard when he tears his horns off.
What the fuck, man? Do that?
Fire. Yeah.
Also, you gotta remember that he's only 15 years old in human years too, because like they age differently. So
right, he's definitely still a kid.
These characters like Odin, we saw him when he was young, like super young too, and then we saw him grow up, and shit like that. So there's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, he's really, really young here, actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that these giant ships are huge, just coming to port, it would scare the shit out of anyone. So I don't blame anyone for being afraid. But there's one thing I want to talk about before we end the chapter, if you guys are okay with. Can we go back to the Shanks and Gaban talk real quick? They mentioned Gaban saying like it's been a while since they shared a bath, whatever. It's been like what, 3 or 4 years? And then Shanks replies back saying, "Are you kidding? Like, it's been 10 years." So Gaban has been like in Elbath what he thinks has been 3 or 4 years, but it's been 10. My whole thing is like, I believe like after we're out of Elbath, this is how we get like a pseudo time skip, not for the Straw Hats, but for the world. And that's why like the cover story is important, because we get to see like the Wano crew, like it's been a good amount of time. We think it might be a short amount of time, but it ends up being like maybe a few months or maybe like a year or so, but we get to see that Wano has caught up, like has stabilized themselves and caught up, and they're ready to fight for war. Because like if the final saga happens right now, like I don't see how like Wano could partake when they just finished getting rid of Kaido, you know what I mean? Like there's no way they could help out. But I think with having a time skip, letting them develop, and then because we know like shit's happening in Mary Jawa, revolutionaries taking over, so I think this is a good way that like when the Straw Hats come back out of Elbath, everyone is like on the same level, and then like are ready for this final saga, for like the Grand Fleet to be finally together. Like Yamato's gonna be done with her journey, like their journey. Momo's fully trained, like everyone's fucking like ready, bro.
So time is really passing faster outside.
I feel like that was a theory that
it was.
It was a theory that
it was, and I didn't really like it back then, but now I feel like I don't think
I still don't like it. I'm not gonna lie.
My big thing about the final saga has been like in Egghead, every fucking line mattered. Every line that was said early in Egghead, even when it was a bit slower, like the murder mystery game or whatever, like every line ended up having some sort of payoff to a crazy degree. And I think that's going to continue. So I don't think these are wasted lines. And they're just saying that just because, it's been longer than I thought. Like, I think Mr. is probably right. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised anymore. Case, because again, we don't know why Louis Arnault said in his book,
yes,
don't stay too long, don't overstay your welcome, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a big thing that we've been thinking about. So I was really against it before, like the time thing. Now I'm way more open to it. I don't think these lines are for no reason.
No, definitely not.
So while me personally, I do believe it's definitely plausible that is the case. I'm not ruling nothing out, just to be clear when I say this, because I like just want to be clear. I'm not apprehensive to the idea of that. I just want to know if that is the case, then Oda will kind of have to explain the fact that Emu is at both Marijois and on Elbath at the same time. And if he's doing possession right now on Gunko on Elbath, does that mean that when he is done, time is like, does he perceive does that mean his perception of time is going to change when he's done or something?
I don't think it matters for someone that's immortal. You know what I mean? Like I don't think like time, like they bother like perceive time that way. Especially this is a being that's power like that's doing all this shit already. You know what I mean?
Well, not their perception per se. It's more like their situation, right? Because he or she they did the possession on Gunko because they felt like the God's Knights were taking too long. Yeah. And that Marijois was on fire, right? So
damn, that line of taking too long, even that is like a kind of a point in the direction of this theory. Holy shit!
What I'm saying,
yeah, I know, but I know why you think that, but I'm saying like it could also be the fact that they're taking too long because Marijois is doing something right now. Like
yes, of course, like we need you niggas. Yeah,
so if Imu is at a, you know, if he's possessing Gunko and he's there and a time skip is happening at current events in Marijois, wouldn't technically he would be in a way, it's weird to explain.
Yeah, he would wake up. He would wake up and it would be like, wait, I've been gone this long. I thought I was only in Elbat for like 5 minutes, right?
Right, and the issue that's happening currently at Marijois will be like over as soon as he's done, right? Like,
I don't
we don't have, that's like an assumption, right? Like it could go on longer than that, right?
Yeah, but like I mean, this is a being that like is connected to all the Gorosei, all the Holy Knights. Like we how could we say that they're limited to this? You know what I mean? Like
no, not they are limited, but the world around them. Because he's like, let's say someone's breaking into your house, right? Like current day, someone breaking into your house. Your security is not there. You're rich enough to afford security, and your security guards are on a place that like I don't know why they're not there.
Nigga went on a walk.
Yeah, but your security guards are on a in a place where time is perceived slower, and they're not at your house. Your house is on fire. Your house is going through some bullshit, and you somehow can possess someone. You're someone on your security team. Like, hey, what are y'all doing? Y'all need to be back here. And so you're possessing a security guard to do whatever to get them back here. But by the time you wake up, by the time you're done with the possession, wouldn't the world around you, such as your house,
Imu's asleep out on the other side? I don't think that's the case. I think Imu is like perceiving everything. I think that's why like the whole chest thing. That's why they showed the chess thing before. Like, I think that's how Imu perceives things. Like, there's a chess game going on over here. There's a chess game going on over here. Like, and they're just watching everything. And like, I just don't think that Imu's like, oh, I'm gonna possess you, and I'm like, shut off. Like my actual being itself is shut off. You know what I mean? Like,
I think. So you think he's active even when he's possessing someone at the same time? Like he can.
So that's my assumption. I mean, because this is an all-powerful fucking being. Like that would be a whack ass, like, you know, like, who's protecting Imu then at that time?
But even if he's not, right? Even if he's not, you know, we made a good point earlier about how they are linked with the Gorosei, right? Like he can be like, yo, time's up, you got to get back here, right? Like, I think that's also like a real, like that could be a failsafe that they have, you know, like to bring Imu back, like, yo, dog, we need you out here, you know, like let's go, like it's progressed too much, you know, the situation. So I think that's all possible, Ma. Like he might get back into my to him, or he might have taken too long. That's also a possibility.
Especially because now Imu wants to stay and watch what the Giants do, right? So that might be like a folly on their part, and that leads to their downfall in this situation, because their ego got to them. They're like, oh, I want to see my work, do work, and then that causes them on the other side. Who knows?
But yeah, and again, Mod, I'm not even fully on the side. I think it's a real possibility now. So there's that.
Okay. I mean, it could be, like I said, it could be the case. It could be the case. I mean, me personally, I personally think that line with, he said, like, you know, are you kidding? It's been 10 years. I genuinely do think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I genuinely do think it was just Gaban, just, you know, time went by so fast that he's just like, oh, well, no, I thought, you know, it's been 3 or 4 years. Like, what? No, it's been 10. Like sometimes time eludes people when they're either having a good time and a lot of stuff happens. I mean, like, he's happy. He's with his woman, kid.
Yeah,
like, you know, like,
it could definitely go either way.
Yeah,
it could definitely go either way for sure. Is there anything else you guys wanted to? Any last questions, comments, concerns before we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah.
Sorry, it'll be real quick. It'll be real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
I don't think anyone said this yet, but I think we agree, right? It's confirmed that Loki has conquered his haki.
Yeah, from his response to
Gaban.
Gaban.
Response to Gaban. Yeah, it's definitely conquers haki confirmation for sure.
Yeah. All right. That was another one that I forgot to mention, but that's another confirmation.
That's fair.
There's a lot of confirmations this chapter.
The final little thing I have to say is that on the point of Harald and how I was talking about how I'm getting the sense that he's been kind of naive and he's not malicious and not the emu specifically, and not trying to sell out Elbaf. He's trying to make Elbaf better. I saw a great point. I think it was probably Mr. Moores that made it, that when Emu was talking about Lily and how her proliferating the poneglyphs was like the nail in the coffin for them, he mentioned how it was a blunder, and we can probably agree. I'm sure Lily meant to do that, and it wasn't a mistake, right? Because she's fucking Nefertari D Lily, right? I think Emu refers to Harold's fuck up as a blunder, and I saw a point about how Emu is so narcissistic that he can't even picture someone like betraying him or not working in his interests. And the fact that he puts them both in the same category to me is like, okay, wow, maybe Harald really wasn't on his side. I thought that was a great little kind of connection between those two blunders that I heard. So I promise that's the last thing I have to say about the chapter.
That was the last talk about. I don't blame you.
I was actually gonna say one more thing.
Oh boy! All right, let's just keep going. Let's just go another hour.
If you look at Loki when you first see him in the flashback, you see his hammer, right?
Yes. Oh my god, we didn't
talk about that. Now that's actually a good one to bring up, because I do remember looking at it like we didn't see it look like this. Right, it didn't look like this.
So my question to y'all is, does Loki have the fruit, or does the hammer have the fruit?
I think this is something you brought up. I think you brought this up a while ago. This is like one of the first theories you had with the hammer. Was the fruit in the hammer?
Yeah, but to me it just like starts to, I don't know, because like
No, we talked about this. We talked about this. Loki has to have the fruit. He had the system of prism is fucking.
But what if he's holding the hammer, and they just tie him up with the hammer holding it?
But I don't know if that's how that works, right?
Yeah,
that's true. But I don't know. It's just something to think about.
The hammer is definitely different. It's definitely something to think about for sure. The hammer is definitely not the same as the other one.
He might have taken it from that treasure room, right? That had the fruit as well.
The hammer that he has currently.
Ragnar, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like I think it was mentioned a while ago, it's a black blade. It's a black weapon.
But I think we debunked that too, right? I think we said that Blackbeard blades are all like blades, right?
Only blades, yeah. I think White House debunked that.
I feel like we had this conversation before.
I remember the exact conversation. I'm trying to think like the exact what exactly we were trying to prove or disprove.
We were trying to prove if the hammer was one of the supreme grade.
Yeah, well, I think so far the supreme grade swords have only been swords. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, because not even.
It's not swords. It's bladed weapons because
supreme grade swords are not all black blades though.
No, but what's his name's dude isn't a blade. It's the Whitebeard.
Whitebeard, yeah, something more, whatever it's called. Yeah. So it's not
a supreme grade, but it's still not a black blade though. Like when I say that, I mean whatever it is that can cause black blades to turn into black blades. Maybe potentially Loki did it with the hammer. I don't know.
So you think it's possible that this is the same hammer that he has now, just transformed from whatever happened?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay. It's hard to tell. We really don't know much, but it's definitely worth bringing up because
the shape fully changes.
Wait, say it again.
The shape fully changes. Ragnar is like a slab.
It's like a slab. There's not all this insignia, this design on it is not. That's not on there at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It looks like Mjolnir, like legit.
There's a black. What? Wait, have we seen a black blade that legit keeps?
We've never seen a black blade before. Like we've only ever seen a black blade after it's been.
We've never seen a transformation, right? We've never seen anything get turned into a black blade.
Yeah.
Damn. So we can't even.
I know, man.
Shit. All right, never mind. I don't know. I'm stumped.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, man. It's hard to tell.
But I don't think. But I genuinely don't think that the fruit has the hammer though. Just because, like Whitehouse pointed out, like he still has the cuffs on him,
true,
and if he did, like Oda wouldn't be trying his hardest to hide, Loki's fruit by having him cuffed, and like he could have just displayed it right then and there with what he did.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I guess I'll go one more real quick since we gonna keep extending. Let me add something into the mix.
Let's go, bro.
I just want to know how good do you guys think this flashback is going to be? I say that because I think the last 3-4 arcs maybe where we've had a flashback from a non-main character has been cinema. From Oden with Wano to Kuma with Egghead. What was before Wano? Whole Cake? Well, I guess we didn't really have a non-main
Sanji.
character. It was Sanji. Yeah, that's more so what I meant because
But even Katakuri Big Moms is fucking crazy.
Yeah, like I have high hopes for this flashback, and I want to know if you guys share the sentiment.
1,000%, bro. 1,000%. I think again, I would even argue that it's been getting progressively better and better, right? Like, Oden's was fucking crazy, and Oden had the second dimension of being a Roger fucking flashback too, right?
Like the fact that like his flashback led to more information on Roger, Whitebeard.
We had the last moment from that shit, brother. Like we saw them finding the One Piece. Like, oh my god. And then Kuma had maybe the best one, right?
Yeah.
Like, and now I think Harald and Loki are just gonna be such amazing characters. So yeah, I have immense hopes for it.
We might get the Rocks reveal here, or we might get a little more Rocks info here. I could definitely see something like that.
True.
Yeah,
we get flashback within Loki's flashback. Like Loki will during a flashback think back to Rocks, and we get the Rocks face reveal.
Well, we know when Loki mentioned Rocks, it was something about him landing on the shores, right? And he wanted to meet him or something like that.
He met him. He wanted to go with him.
He wanted to join his crew.
They had stopped on the island and they were leaving or something like that.
Yeah, they're leaving Elbeth, and Rock's like, I got nothing to say, little Welsh, and then he beat his ass.
Yeah, off of that, I can assume that Rocks met Harald. I guess that's just an assume, but I can assume that
no. But again, like someone like Rocks being on the island, not meeting
Harald,
crazy,
right?
Yeah.
And that could be where Loki gets the influence from. So I could see we could possibly get another Rocks interaction here. But we know for sure that even though this is going to be Harold's flashback, we're definitely going to get some information on outside forces besides the Giants necessarily. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Harald is such a key player in like God's Knights stuff, potential Gorosei, Emu, and Shanks too. Yeah. So we're gonna get a lot of juicy stuff with Shanks combat, I'm assuming, and Loki versus Shanks, Loki rock stuff, God's Knights stuff. Like we're gonna get a lot.
Yeah.
And again, I think like the time period is so interesting. We know more about stuff that happened like 200 years ago and 400 years ago than we do about stuff that happened 100 years ago. Like 200 years ago to like now, or like 24 years ago, is like such an uncharted piece of One Piece history. Like we know small things about before that, but we don't know anything about like that time period. I'm so interested in that. I'm interested in how the Giants kind of made their
their
like,
mark.
why are they so scary? Right? What did Harald want out of his like conquest or whatever he's doing? Right? Like what were the Giant Pirates up to? All this kind of stuff. So I'm very interested in that. And again, the line about what is the most frightening thing on the sea, like 100 years ago, that's not the first time we heard it. I don't know where it was. It might have been by Omo and Kashin and Enies Lobby. But this line is repeated. Like this is the second time we've heard that exact phrase
about how the Giants are the most feared people of the seas. Yeah.
Oh,
So this is kind of like we're getting to that finally after all this time. So I'm so hyped.
And I was gonna also say that, like, adding on to what you said, why Huss, like that is such uncharted territory that it's funny how there's the Void Century, which in One Piece universe, that's the century that's the most blanked out in terms of like human memory, human society memory. But we technically it feels like we know more about that than those other time periods that we never fully explore. Like that's our version of the void century, or void centuries, that. So it's interesting that Oda's exploring that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, are there any more questions, comments, concerns? All right. All right, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I feel like this has got to be up there with our longest episodes of all time.
It's touching.
Yeah, there was a lot to cover.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. Definitely a dope episode. Appreciate everybody in the chat that was hanging out with us, touching base with us. We appreciate you guys. If you're not watching these episodes live, you're missing out. You guys, to make sure you're here every Sunday, twitch.tv/Cali_Mac or YouTube at Straw Hat Sit Down. Every Sunday, come kick it at us, chat with us, let us know what you think about the chapter. You know what I mean? We always love to have those discussions with you guys. Big shout outs to everybody watching this after the fact on YouTube, Apple Pod, Spotify Pod, etc. We appreciate you guys as well. If you're not following us on all the socials, what are you doing? You're slacking, you bozo. Get on it. Follow us on all our socials at Straw Hat Sit Down on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. You look for us, you will find us.
We're one sub away from 300.
We are one sub away from 300 on YouTube. Yo,
let's go.
One of you guys tell your grandma to sub. Like, it has to be done. We only need one more. Make it happen. Make it happen. Feel me? And yeah, it's gonna be it for our episode today. We have no break on the chapter next week, so we will be back next week with another chapter review. We'll be getting back into this flashback, I'm assuming, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Definitely excited. One Piece is peak. Oda the GOAT. All right, I'm done. That's gonna be it for our episode today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, you guys take it easy, be safe, be healthy. We appreciate each and every one of you guys, and we will see y'all when we see y'all. Peace.
Who gon' get down? We are. This that Straw Hat Sit Down. We are. Who the crew with the fleet? We are. Who gon' piece that one piece? We are. Who gon' get down? We are. This that Straw Hat Sit Down. We are. Who the crew with the fleet? We are. Who gon' piece that one piece? We are. Straw Hat Sit Down crew in the building. We Corona to these other podcasts. We gon' put these people in their feelings when they hear this, and they know that they can't top this. We spit facts and we poppin'. Every time an episode is dropping, we see D3 in the corner. Mister, that's a real G with the green screen in the background. Got him looking like he in a real scene. We got Big Mod in the cut. Always ready with rebuttals, but he bring the knowledge when we in the huddle, so you know the crew is never gonna fumble. And it's wild huss, last but not least. If you ask me, then Cali, mad at Captain, make him rally around me. Every Sunday we gon' run deep, and we can't stop until we find out about that one piece. Who gon' get down? We are. This that Straw Hat Sit Down. We are. Who the crew with the fleet? We are. Who gon' piece that one piece? We are. Who gon' get down? We are. This that Straw Hat Sit Down. We are. Who the crew with the fleet? We are. Who gon' piece that one piece? We